through YouTube. We're here to celebrate spirit and community. And our guest speaker today is going to be Nancee Cline and her granddaughter, Charlotte. And they're going to share with us a book they wrote and illustrated. Um, but before we get into that, if I could please have Pasha come up and read from The Science of Mind.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm reading from this magazine, The Science of Mind, which is the publication of the religious science organization, and it's all subtitled Guide for Spiritual Living. And this month, the theme is relationships. So it starts with a couple of quotations, and then there's a little essay from a New Thought minister, and then it ends with the affirmation. And I'll, after I read the affirmation, I'll break it into small parts so that you can join in with your voices if you wish to. Okay, so the topic is, I bring my best self. And the first quotation is from Wayne Dyer. Be at peace with everyone. No one is capable of making you upset without your consent. So if you begin practicing the intention to be authentic and peaceful with everyone, you connect to peace itself and gain the power to change the energy of your relationships with family and friends. And the second quote, it's from Ernest Holmes. Good is at the root of everything, regardless of its seeming absence. But this good must be recognized. Since there is but one spirit, and this spirit is in you and in everything, then everywhere you go, you will meet this spirit. You meet this spirit in people, in places, and in things. And here's the essay. The power of spirit is within, fully available to us if we accept it. This power removes fear, replacing it with the expression of a love from the depth of our being. When we come into alignment with spirit, power, and love, we are ready to accept ourselves fully and bring our best self into every relationship we have. From love and power comes peace. When we are at peace with ourselves and with spirit, how can we not bring peace to our relationships? When we own this power, we show up fully, authentically, and honestly. We do not seek to manipulate others to be different from who they are, and we do not allow others to manipulate us. When an empowered person enters a room, they bring the energy they want to experience with them. If the energy already in the room is negative, they change it for the better. When we bring our best selves, we are more likely to experience the best of others. When we speak to the highest aspect of the other, we are more likely to get responses from that highest aspect. As we give, we receive. Isn't this better than waiting for someone else to change their energy? When we are secure in our authentic power, we enter and remain in relationships that recognize and honor that power. We stand up for what is just and set a positive example. Okay, now I'll read the entire affirmation first and then break it into smaller parts. I am in alignment with my higher self and the peace, power, and love within. I actualize the qualities in my life and bring them into every relationship. I am at peace with myself and with the world. Okay, so the first sentence. I am in alignment with my higher self and the peace, power, and love within. I am in alignment with my higher self and the peace, power, and love within. I actualize the qualities in my life and bring them into every relationship. I actualize the qualities in my life and bring them into every relationship. I am at peace with myself and with the world. I am at peace with myself and with the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Pasha. Again, welcome to New Thought Center here in Kealakakua. I would say ask if there's any new people, but I see all familiar faces out here in the audience today. And I can't see into the TV to see if there's anyone new watching, but welcome if you are. Welcome back to our place of faith where we get to share with each other um, that really which inspires us to be our best selves and our best in our community. I want to thank everyone who works so hard to bring this fabulousness every weekend, from sound and music and um, all the things. And for Patty, who always brings a lay. Patty, would you like to bless our speaker with the lay today?
Smells sweet all day. Thank you. Aloha. Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be two.
Well, being the grandchild, Charlotte is her own lay. Could we have one more song, Mahina? Thank you.
Okay. In Hawaii, we do call our children Napua, the flowers. So she is her own way. When it's raining like last night, but it was a beautiful night anyway.
Thanks again for that beautiful mele, Mahina. So our guest today is Nancee Cline and Charlotte. And would you hold up the book that you wrote? So Nancee wrote the book and Charlotte illustrated. And I think that's just so cool, the collaborative effort. And speaking about creativity, and one of the ways that the universe expresses its creative self is through what we call miracles and ordinaries. Miracles are those simple but profound moments in life that just kind of bring us that affirmation that everything is going and flowing according to the divine plan. And ordinaries are those divine moments in our every life that makes us realize what truly spiritual beings we are. And I am going to invite anyone who might have a miracle or an ordinary to come up and share. Are there any miracles or ordinaries today? We have one from Rob. Thank you.
It is a misty, moisty morning. Pasha, you finish this.
And cloudy was the weather.
Do you know the end one? The end of it, right?
I can't remember at this moment.
Anyway, it's a misty, moisty morning. And I looked up at their protection the clouds are giving. Protection. I saw a rainbow, just a little rainbow. Even though the darkness, what we call darkness, is encircling the earth, like when we were born, Pasha and I were born in 1946, after the Great War was over, and people prayed all over the earth to end that great conflict that almost ended the world as we know it, almost. And we were given a second chance. And God is in charge, not satanic power. It's kind of Asuras and Devas in Hinduism. Asuras and Devas. And so I'm saying, no matter how narrow the light is, it's still bright. And I see in you. Whoa. Yeah, you. So take heart. Take heart. And love. God, just turn that energy into love and surround the earth with love. That's my spiel. Cut.
Thank you so much for sharing, because it is about love and encircling this world with love. And so I had a miracle, an ordinary experience yesterday myself. I went to the most simplest thing. I went to a blessing way. And a blessing way is when a woman is about to give birth. So traditionally, there's the baby shower, and that's where you get showered with stuff, all the stuff you need for the baby, the diapers, the onesies, the crib, the blankets, all that. The blessing way is for the mother and the baby, where all of her closest female friends come and they shower her with blessings and prayers and support. And generally, there's proclamations made of kinship and friendship and support. And This particular time, an incredibly strong woman, but she's going it alone. Daddy was all into it and then decided it was a little too intense for him and he can't handle. So we have this grown woman. She has a small son and she has a new baby on the way and she is going it alone. And she was affirmed by 12 ladies. You're not alone. Even when you're by yourself, you're not alone. You've got friends on the other side of the phone. You've got women who will drop everything and come to you in an instant. And we will share in supporting you to bring this baby into the world and to bring all the support you need. You need laundry done? We'll come do your laundry. Because if you're a mother and you have a newborn, you know getting the laundry done is an ordinary miracle. And the true miracle is getting that laundry in the drawer. But it was so beautiful to see this woman who was just resplendent in the miracle of life. And when they say pregnant women glow, she was glowing. She really was. And by the end of the day, there wasn't a dry eye because we all felt so moved by this profound strength it takes to bring life into the world, which is a miracle. And it happens every day. And sometimes we forget how miraculous it is. And we have to be reminded that even though there's the individual there bringing another soul into this world, we need our community to bring that soul forward into the love that we truly want to see. And it's the most beautiful creative force. And so it was profound to me when I realized that the person speaking today was a mother and a grandmother and her grandchild. And one of the things that was mentioned, because the mom of the woman who's having the baby was there, and she was like, "Oh, well, I'm just so proud of you." And we all started crying when the midwife was, the baby that is developing in the mom right now was already partially developed in her grandmother. Because when a baby girl is formed in her mother, before she's born, she has already formed all of the eggs that she will have in her lifetime. So any children that potentially are brought forth through that woman were carried by the grandmother. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see that creative lineage here on our lanai. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And that's my miracle and ordinary. And thanks for letting me share. Early. Usually we have a lot of people here who want to talk a lot of story about miracles and ordinaries, myself included. But we're just going to go to the song, and then the heart of the matter.
Well, it's a miracle that I can get up here and play and share music with you folks. Yeah, it's a blessing all the time, and I'm grateful for it. I actually wrote this song.
Thank you, Mahina. I love that song. What a beautiful inspiration. So, finally, we get to hear from Nancee Cline. Thank you for coming and sharing, and her granddaughter, Charlotte.
Good morning. Close enough? Good morning. Thank you for inviting us. Last week, Kona Stories had an author talk, and Charlotte and I were there presenting our new book, and Pasha was there and invited us to come and speak this morning. Our book, Bright Morning Stars, Celebrating Creation Through the Eyes of Science and Faith, is a very small book published by a very small organization called the Center for Children and Theology in Washington, D.C. And they actually commissioned this book. I'm going to start with a William Blake quote, William Blake from 1757 to 1827. He wrote, "What do you see when you look out over the landscape? Do you simply see the sun rising? Or do you see the flaming forth of the deep mystery of the universe?" Every book, writing a book is a spiritual journey, and it all starts with an original idea. About 5 years ago, I took a class online about St. Francis. It was called Beyond the Bird Bath. And in it, St. Francis said that nature was the first Bible, and that we could learn everything we need to know about God from nature. That was an amazing statement to me, and I thought long and hard about it. I'm strong in the humanities, weak in the sciences, so I decided that I would devote myself to understanding nature better. So I took another course. It's a course from an online course from Yale that's available to anybody anywhere on the planet, called Journey of the Universe. It was a program that was originally started when the ecology department and the divinity department got together and said, instead of being separate, instead of keeping science and faith separate, let's put them together. We need to work together to save the planet. So they had an ecological focus, that they wanted to take the stories, the creation stories that have been around for thousands of years, take those stories and blend them with the new science that we're seeing every day. Put them together and we would have an unbelievable story. So I think this started in the 90s, and Yale has worked very hard on promoting this idea around the world. In 2011, they presented a film, Journey Through the Universe, which was on PBS, and it won Emmys. It's such a beautiful, beautiful film. You can find it on YouTube if you're interested. But it was really the jewel in the crown of the work that Yale had been doing for so many years. So I took this course from them. They encouraged us to change the way we think of how we are in the galaxy, that we did not start the day we were born. We didn't start the day our parents fell in love. We didn't start with Adam and Eve. We started with the creation of creation. Every cell in our bodies comes from that initial Big Bang, or the scientists at Yale call it the Great Flaring Forth, which is directly from William Blake's poetry. for children, that is an amazing idea. It's an amazing idea for everyone, but to belong to the universe, to be the current expression of the universe, rather than having the earth as a stage that we act upon. We are a part of the earth. We are the earth. And when you have this different framework of who you are and where you come from, it changes the way you see what we need to do, how we save our planet, how we live our lives. So that was really the second step of my journey to writing this book. I have a 5-year-old grandson, Charlotte's cousin, he was 4 at the time, and I thought, I want to find a book that offers this same Yale philosophy to small children. And I looked and I looked and I looked. I couldn't find it. I found some beautiful new books about creation that illustrate the creation of the universe, story form, very beautiful, very affirming. But it wasn't what I was looking for. And at some point, I asked the Center for Children in Theology, thinking, if anyone knows, it will be them. And they pointed me to a few books which were not the right thing. And finally, the director said, Nancee, if you will write the book, I will publish it. So I'd spent so much time knowing exactly what I was looking for that it was really quite easy to write the book. The hardest part was to keep it simple and focused enough, because there were thousands of opportunities to go in different directions. So as I wrote the book, I kept thinking how to illustrate it, and my original idea was to use NASA photography because it actually belongs to all of us. We all have free access to using that photography. But then my granddaughter, who lives in Singapore, showed me some of her art. She has a beautiful art studio in her home, and she held up some paintings to the camera, and I saw the paintings and I said, that's what I want. That's what I want for my book. And so we talked about it a little bit. I had her parents photograph the paintings and send them to me. And then I sent them to the publisher and said, can we use these? I wasn't at all sure she would say yes, but she loved them. She thought they were beautiful. So we commissioned some more art. She already had, I think, 6 paintings that I've used, and I needed 4 or 5 more to complete the work. So during COVID, she made some beautiful paintings for the book. She lives in Singapore. She's home for the summer, visiting us on summer break. She goes home tomorrow. But we've had these 2 opportunities to share our book with the community. Charlotte's been practicing her signature so that she can sign the books that people purchase. And that was quite an ordeal, coming up with just the right signature. The whole family got to kind of weigh in on what they thought was the most artistic and creative. Okay. The format of the book. I think I'll read the book. It's pretty short, but I'll explain it first. It starts with, on one side of each page is creation scripture. So I take from the Old Testament, which is acknowledged and used by Christians, Hebrews, but also Muslims acknowledge the truth of Genesis and use Genesis. So that gives us a broad base, and it gives us a perfect structure of 7 days of creation, and to break down the creation story in that way. So on one page is creation, the other page is science. And then you turn the page. You want to just give them an example. And so that's the adult contribution. And then when you turn the page and the response is a child's response. So art, and then here's a suggested song, kind of a Sunday school kind of song, or one is a traditional Appalachian song. We'll read it. We'll read it in a minute. So that was my intention, that is presented as equally valid, and the idea that there's more than one way to tell a story. And by blending the stories, we get a stronger and more beautiful and perhaps more lasting response. So let's read it. Bright morning stars. Once upon a time, actually before time, before light, before anything we know, there was mystery, only deep, dark mystery. The Spirit of God hovered inside the mystery, and God said, "Let there be light." And then there was the first light. Some scientists call it a great flaring forth. And the children sing, "The light of Christ has come into the world." God saw that the light was good. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. God made the stars also. Astronomers studying the night sky now say the stars came first. Stars dance and sparkle throughout the heavens. They live, and after a long, long time, they die. Dying stars explode into supernovas, the most spectacular display of destruction and creation in the universe. Stardust is flung everywhere. New stars are born, then planets, and then moons. And the children sing, "Bright morning stars." God made our planet Earth. The land was divided from the waters, and their dance of changing boundaries began. God saw that Earth was good. An astronaut named Edgar Mitchell described what Earth looks like from space. Suddenly, there emerges a sparkling blue and white jewel, a light, delicate sky blue sphere laced with slowly swirling veils of white, rising gradually like a small pearl in a thick sea of black mystery. The children sing, this pretty planet. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the herb-yielding seed and the fruit tree upon the earth." And it was so. And God saw that it was good. The earth becomes 100 shades of green when trees and grass and plants drink sunlight. Botanists call this process photosynthesis. The soil, the sunshine, and the seed all work together. The children sing, "This tiny seed." And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." And God blessed them, and God said, "Let the land produce the creatures that move along the ground and the wild animals." And it was so. We have fossils that help us imagine the first animals. We have cave paintings to show us wild animals that came later. Much later, humans developed an alphabet and writing. We can read stories about people and animals. St. Francis considered all animals his family. He preached to the birds, and they followed him. He wrote a poem to a pig. He made friends with a wolf. He knew that all of creation is good, that all of creation is connected. The children sing, "All God's critters." God formed a human from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the human became a living being. God created humankind, male and female, and God blessed them. Astrophysicists teach us that the dust of the earth is made from the dust of supernovas. All the elements of our bodies come from the earth, which comes from the stars of long, long ago. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our skin, even the gold around our hearts. And the children sing Celtic Hallelujah. Our creation has a starting point, but the love in which God made us has no beginning, and this love is our true source. That's Julian of Norwich. Our ancestry stretches back through the life forms and into the stars. Geneticists tell us that all the humans in the world are from the same family. We are all brothers, sisters, cousins. Note the DNA that she put, hold it up, between the children. In the beginning, the stars sang, the heavens declared God's glory. Through time, more and more wonders were born to bless the universe. All thy works shall praise thy name in earth and sky and sea. Time began with the great flaring forth, and it is still moving forward. God is not finished creating. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, active volcanoes declare glory. Kilauea is erupting in Hawaii right now. Red lava rivers running into the sea, layer by layer. A new creation, a new island is underway. The children sing, "This is holy ground." John, the friend of Jesus, wrote, "See what kind of love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God. And we are children of the universe, too. We are made of stars and the breath of God." The children sing, "Shalom, all my friends." The fullness of joy is to behold God in everything. Mother Julian of Norwich. Thank you. I have a list in the back of the quotations come from Genesis, the holy poets. That's how I refer to them. And we don't know their names. John, the friend and follower of Jesus. Saints, two saints, Mother Julian of Norwich and St. Francis. And the scientists today, Edgar Mitchell, the Apollo-era astronaut, Brian Swim, professor of evolutionary cosmology, Mary Evelyn Tucker from the Yale program. Just a note on the gold around our hearts. How many of you knew that you had gold around your heart? Literally, you did? Okay, I didn't know that. And when I listed the first elements, the calcium, and I thought, kids don't really care about that. Maybe we have gold. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? So I looked it up and I found we have gold, about 0.2 milligrams of gold inside us. And where is it? It is around our hearts. So I thought this was scientifically true and spiritually eloquent. That was my first title for the book, was The Gold Around Our Hearts. But we didn't end up with that. I think I'm done. Any questions?
That was so profound and eloquent in its simplicity. I noticed you have some books for sale. What are some of your other books that you have on the table?
Queen Emma's Church in Kealakakua, which is the history of Hawaii from the point of view of the Anglican Church that Queen Emma built or had built. So it's local history. It's a lot of commentary, a lot of storytelling. I interviewed quite a few people in their 90s to write the book. So it's not really just about Christchurch Episcopal. It's about a different perspective of seeing the islands. So I have a book called Cry the Beloved Children. If you've read Cry the Beloved Country, I've used that name because it's about children in Africa. I went to a peace conference after the Rwandan genocide, just really as a witness and to see what had happened to the 1 million orphans. So that's a book about that. And there's a poetry book. My parents both died just a few months apart in their 90s. And I wrote a poetry book about my life as their child, my gratitude for the life they gave me and for who they were. So it's called Saying Goodbye to the House on Longfellow, which was the name of the street I grew up in. After they died, the house was bulldozed. So no one ever lived in the house but our family. And so it's a book that has a great deal of emotion in it and respect. I think that's all. That's all. Those 3 books.
Okay. And then you have a degree in theology?
No, I have a certificate.
Oh.
I have a certificate in theology.
And what is the difference between a certificate and a degree?
Oh, I took a 4-year class. Took 4 years, and at the end we had 1 year on Old Testament, 1 year on New Testament, 1 year on world religions, and one on kind of the state of the planet now in terms of religious issues and division, stuff like that. So 4-year program, and I received just a certificate. I wasn't enrolled as a seminary student, so and all of these classes. The Yale class is, like I said, it's a free class online. Anybody can take it. If you want college credit, you have to pay for it. Otherwise, it's free. So if you take it for free, you don't have to take the tests. And you don't have to do any written homework. It's just you get to observe and read all the presentations. So it's really a great course. I took it twice.
What's the name of it?
The Yale course that I took is Journey of the Universe, and that's their best course. I started a couple and then didn't stay with them because the reading was too intense. And then there's Religion and Ecology and Christianity and Ecology. Those are some of them. I'm taking the Religion and Ecology right now, and I'm almost done with it. And the most interesting thing about that is that Yale, this organization, has become like this hub, and they have lists of resources of what different churches are doing and what different activist groups are doing, and there are thousands of them. I had no idea there is so much activity trying to save the planet and trying to bring creation stories or faith and science together. Through the Yale course, I became aware of the Deep Time Network, and the Deep Time Network is again like an umbrella for all these organizations. And so I've taken a couple Zoom seminars and things with them, and there are literally, 1,000 scientists that are involved that are people of faith. And there are like 1,000 nuns who have PhDs in environmental issues. I had no idea. They're called green nuns. And I got to listen to some of them talk, and most of them are aged, not all of them. Some are young university professors. But there's so much going on that it's really heartening. And it helps to alleviate the anxiety that one must feel if they pay attention to science in the news. So has been a great journey for me, and I know a lot more about science than I did when I started. But I'm still really a humanities person. It's a little hard for me to talk science. It's not my language. But
Well, you definitely draw some very beautiful correlations and give, a lot of people think science is this like very hard or rigid. We think, labs, and you really bring to the science of, that life of that sense of humanity. And I've never read that William Blake quote about the sun, and it's amazing. I never thought I was a scientist until I realized that, my love of nature and my inherent just awe of life in general is actually scientific. It's science. I know this because I'm sending my kids to science camp, and everything they're doing is really cool. And it's all science. And what is it? It's observation. That's the primary basis of science, is to observe and to take notes. And my daughter's science notebook is all of these beautiful drawings, of the water, of the tree, of, the hydrological cycle, how the lava interacts with the ocean. And so, I mean, it looks like an artist's sketchbook, but it's science, because they're the same. And it used to be that all of our greatest scientists are, we know them because they left us these wonderful troves of art. And um, and your language that you bring to it is truly an art. So thank you very much for sharing. You have such a beautiful reading voice. I'm like, I would love to have listened to you read me stories. Like, oh,
thank you.
did she read you stories as you were?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
currently reading Lord of the Rings every night.
Oh,
So she still likes to be read too. We read Lord of the Rings before she goes to bed at night, but sometimes she does the reading. So
And we also did The Secret Garden a couple years ago.
I love that story.
yeah, I wanted Charlotte to just talk a minute about doing the artwork.
Oh,
Anything you want to share about your process or circumstances?
well, the majority of the art is art that I had previously done, and some of them are even from when I was 6 years old. And I think the painting that comes after The Gold Around Our Hearts, that one is my earliest one, and I made it when I was 6. And at the bottom, it says Charlotte 2051 instead of 2015. But she did ask me to paint some specific things. And while I did that, I would be listening to hour-long science videos because I'm more of a science person. In fact, while doing the cover art, the whole painting is in the book, but the cover art, it would take me hours to do all the tiny little dots. And so I put on the history of the Earth, which was about 2 hours, in a nutshell. So that inspired me and got me to dig deeper and stuff like that.
We have a photograph. Her dad took a picture of her painting this, and she's sitting on the floor, cross-legged in her pajamas, listening to a science tape and painting these many, many, many beautiful stars. And you can't quite tell from a distance, but close up you can see the Milky Way, and you can see levels, and that it's not a flat painting, that she captured the depth of the universe. She's 12.
I'm nearly 13.
She's 12. She's taller than me, but she's 12. She wasn't taller than me when she did the paintings. This is new. So the paintings she did all were done by the time, while she was finished by the time she was 11. And so
And at what age did you start painting, Charlotte?
I don't know. A lot of times just for fun, and probably at school, like 5, 4.
sure, you always loved painting,
Yeah.
coloring.
And you have your own studio at home.
Well, there's a small little portion of it's kind of an office. But I use that right before it goes into the balcony. And so it's a small room and there's a desk on it. And I use it to do my schoolwork too, but it's also an art room. Yeah, and the on the table, all my friends come and there's paint all over the table and drawings on the table, and it's so we even carve on the table. The table is a mess, but it's a beautiful artistic mess.
Every artistic mess is beautiful. Now, the painting that you did, are they watercolors? Are they oil-based acrylic or water-based acrylic?
Well,
Or are they mixed media?
mixed media. The one on the cover, the background is watercolor, but then I did the stars with acrylic, and the full painting in here, the astronaut as well, is in acrylic. The ones that I did when I was younger, I don't know, probably like little kid splat paint or something. I don't know, some cheap stuff probably. And I did some of them in an art club. Some of them are at my school, and some like this one. And this one's all acrylic paint.
And what's the average size? They're just like a notebook, or are they bigger?
The ones she asked me to do was probably on an A4 paper, but some of them, the very last one is about this tall, and it's really skinny. And some of them are bigger, but most of them are about A4 size. Yeah.
And Pasha, do you have a question?
Yes, other people may too, but the question will only be heard by the live stream audience if it's paraphrased or if the person speaks into the mic. Do you want to paraphrase?
I can paraphrase questions if you want.
Okay. Well, I'm interested to know. The story about the gold around the heart amazed me. I didn't know it until I went to the Kona Stories presentation. But I'm interested to know what other surprises Nancee discovered while doing the research for the book.
So the question is for Nancee about the gold around the heart that you discovered as scientific fact, and what other treasures of information did you come across in writing this book?
I think that was the best one, but I found so many beautiful quotations that just warmed my heart, and I found many beautiful quotations that I wanted to use in the book. But like I said, I have to simplify it and stay focused, and so I put them in, and then I take them out, and I find another set of gorgeous quotations, and the same thing, put them in, and then I take them out. I did leave in the 2 Julian of Norwich references. One of the reasons I did is because she was a woman, and I didn't want all the quotes to be by men. I've got St. Francis, I've got John, I've got Edgar Mitchell, I've got these different astrophysicists and stuff, but Julian of Norwich is the one representative female, and Mary Evelyn Tucker, who is the person who's in charge of the Yale program. So this really all comes from, she and her husband are world religion scholars, and it came from their love. So she's kind of the mother. Her middle name is Evelyn, so I think she's the new Eve.
No, and yes, Pasha.
Another follow-up question, because this was actually asked at Kona Stories about the Hawaiian creation story, and I just thought your response was interesting. So maybe you could respond to this group too. Like, did you find any parallels, and do you foresee doing any future books with that are spin-offs from this?
So Pasha wants to know, do you have any inspirations for future books and maybe looking at some of the other creation stories, particularly the Hawaiian creation story?
I have many ideas for other books. I would love to see the same book with the Hawaiian creation story in it, but I'm not qualified to write that one. That would need to be written by a Hawaiian. Most of the creation stories do start with the sky, that the sky, the stars have been a source of wonder and awe for humans always. So there are parallels. And at Kona Stories, I mentioned the fact that in almost all creation stories, the tribe or the group that tells the story is told and believes that they are the beloved. And this idea of original blessing is paramount in creation stories. Unfortunately, not all religions stop there, but I do. I just start with the creation. God saw it and it was good. And that's a good place to stop with children.
That is a great place.
So in science, one of the reasons I don't think I ever liked science growing up was that they told us we were all a mistake or we were just an accident, or that there was no purpose. It was just facts and things just happened. And I couldn't believe that. So for my grandson, and I mean, that I wrote this book for, obviously I'm hoping that Charlotte inhabits this too, a different idea, that we're a mistake or that this is all accidental, but that we're all part of this beautiful story, and that story is motivated by love and intention. I didn't really say intention, but it has to flow together.
I like how some of the greatest scientific minds always come back to that there's this, they don't want to give it a name, but they always talk about a profound unity or a profound unifying force, or like the deeper they get into their science, the more that hard line of facts, figures, and trust and faith blend, and how they're, that the closer they get to trying, or the harder they try to prove with science, there is no God, there is no organized process behind it, the more they actually support the theory of an intentional organization, like a intelligence that forms everything and everything is connected.
Well, certainly Einstein. I'm reading a biography of Copernicus right now because we are related to Copernicus. We found out from our 23andMe DNA test. So he's a scientist I need to know more about. And he's a cleric in the church. That all our early scientists were all part of the church, or not necessarily the Christian church, but they were the only educated people really were people in the church. And that they didn't divide science from God. They thought science was God. God's the proof of God's existence and being. It's only after the Enlightenment when things got separated. And I think we've been greatly hurt by that separation.
I agree. Well, yes, Charlotte.
I I would like to say something about. Well, before you were saying how people were saying it's all accidental. It wasn't on purpose, but it was very hard for life to come, and the chances were super, super slim. But life was destroyed and taken down multiple times. But for it to surpass all these challenges, there's gonna have to be something that helps, that wants us there.
I agree. And it's like my friend, I was talking about my friend, the midwife, and the blessing I went to, and they always have this little bumper sticker that babies are proof that God wants the world to continue. And I really like that. That's one of my I'm like, yes. So, well, thank you for sharing your lovely book and the illustrations and the little talk story. Do you have a song that you can share with us, Mahina? And while Mahina shares her story or her song with us, if you are inspired or moved to share your abundance and blessings with our Koa Bowl, please feel free to come up and make an offering, and continue our life of new thought here in Kealakakua.
Wow. Mahalo, Nancee and Charlotte. Thank you very much. It's hard to believe that you're only 12 years old, but is that not a perfect affirmation of us moving on, growing, passing it on to the next generation? Because I'll tell you what, I'm getting to the point where it's like, I'm tired already. All right, the grandkids, let's go. It's your turn. And she does it so eloquently. Just beautiful. Thank you. Okay, my turn. Anybody out there remember Donovan?
Well, thank you so much. Well, we have some events coming up. Um, so next 3 Sundays. Next week we have Geneviève Sorin, and she's going to be speaking about authentic rhythm, self-mastery through awareness and radical expression with music by Jeff Tree. On the 31st, we'll have Jin An Wong, Tai Chi as a spiritual practice, and music by Lori Callis. And on August, we're already looking at August, people. August 7th, Laura Prince is going to be back on. Sorry. Laura Prince will be here on the journey of self-discovery, and she will Bernice and Manuel Roberto? Bernice and Manuel Roberto are going before they go. Oh. And then, so Geneviève is actually going to do a workshop after her service from 1:30 to 3:30. Please bring a yoga mat, and you will be exploring your authentic rhythm. And then after Jinan Wang is that same time frame, 1:30 to 2:30 after his presentation, he will be doing a Tai Chi class. Both should be really. Geneviève has a great movement, and Jinan Wang is just an amazing Tai Chi teacher. So you definitely want to check those out. And at the last Sunday of the month, we have our produce giveaway, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And the first Sunday of the month, we have our crystal bowl meditations. And as always, we're always looking for volunteers to help out, help set up, help break down, facilitate workshops, and then you can attend the workshop for free. We're still trying to plan our 50th Jubilee activity because it's just so awesome that we just want to keep celebrating. And if anyone has techie skills, we're looking for a Facebook creator and maintainer for New Thought Center of Hawaii. And you'll get a little something, something in gratitude from us if you would like to take up that challenge. And wow, we usually run over on our new thought time, but we're ready to close out.
Mommy, do you want to share about the bio of our guests? Because you kind of just introduced them.
I forgot to turn my notes over and read the back until just now. And so I forgot to read the bio of our presenters. So Nancee Pace Cline and Charlotte Joy Cline. Nancee has a master's degree in interdisciplinary humanities from CSU, Dominguez Hills. Certificates from St. Nicholas Montessori Teachers Training Center, and Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. Catechesis of the Good Shepherd and University of the South School of Theology. Nancee has taught every age group, starting in Montessori preschool, ending with 13 years at West Hawaii Community College. Wow. She's a mother of twin sons, a grandmother of Charlotte and Aspen, and she lives with her musical surfer husband here in Kona. Is he out on the waves? Too big? Yeah, it's kind of choppy out there too. It's not safe for the dolphins. And then Charlotte just completed the 7th grade at the American School of Singapore, and her favorite subject is art. Truly a child of the world. She was born in Germany, raised in Thailand and Singapore, and spends summers with grandma here. Yeah. How fabulous. And then this children's book acknowledges both the beauty of the Genesis creation stories and the magnificent cosmology being revealed in our lifetime. Now, throughout the book, you were always talking about songs, and it was "and the children sing," but there's no actual. You don't have the song. It's just the song title.
Yes, I don't have the copyright to have the songs,
Ah,
but in Montessori Sunday schools, of which there are some all over the world, these are the typical songs they sing. And so theoretically, the book is read out loud to children and they sing it after each part of creation. And they're just short little choruses. Bright Morning Stars is Appalachian, beautiful Appalachian hymn. But again, it's just the chorus. So they're short and they do sign language on some of them.
oh, how
Anyway,
beautiful.
so we weren't sure whether to leave them in or out, but the publisher really wanted them in because she felt like we've got the theologians and the scientists on one page, and the next page is really for the child's response, kind of the call-in response, that they're not passive listeners to the story, they're part of the story. And that's why there's songs there. I wish I could sing them or get Mahina to sing them because they're very sweet.
I was kind of hoping you would sing them.
One of them's by the Hungry Caterpillar guy, Eric Carl.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's listed, right, Nancee? There's a listing how you can access them.
Yes.
ooh, that's.
Are the books for sale over there?
We do have the books for sale over here, the most recent published, and then you also brought one each of
Each
the
of the ones
others.
that I talked about. Pasha asked me to bring them too. So the very back of the book, it does have the song title list. And if you go to the Publisher Center for Children and Theology, you can have the written music for free. They don't offer the children singing it because of copyright issues. So the written music is available. Many of the songs are available on YouTube. For instance, Bright Morning Stars is done by every Appalachian group. It's really quite beautiful. And All God's Critters Got a Place in the Choir. That's a kind of a common church song. And Shalom, all my friends, Shalom, Shalom. Anyway, there's some that you probably know, but you just didn't recognize the title.
Oh, I'm gonna have to explore that. There. I don't even know when my children were younger and in preschool age, and we would sing together. There was a great website called School Bus Songs, and you could go onto the website, and it had all the lyrics for all the old-fashioned songs. Because I thought I would never forget. I forgot. I forgot the words. It's like I remember a little, like the chorus, but then I forget the rest of it. But there was this website, um, schoolbussongs.com, and then even a couple of the songs would have just like a quick audio, so you would hear the tune if you couldn't quite remember, like. But that's going to be my own little my homework to discover the songs. Preschool songs are the best, I think. Well, I would like to, before we do our closing song, do a closing prayer because I didn't do an opening prayer, but that's okay. I just want to give thanks. So much goodness happens in every little moment, and I want to give thanks for that. And I want to give thanks for all the divine inspiration and beautiful creativity that is born forth into this world, and especially at this time. And I give thanks for that ultimate consciousness, that divine intelligence that unifies all of us and keeps us moving forward in this life toward the light, and keeps this world stable and in harmony with all of its delicate balances and ecosystems and interrelationships and interplanetary relationships. I am so grateful to be here at this time, at this world, and this place with all of these beautiful people. And I thank God, I thank Goddess, I thank the Divine Creator for this opportunity to be here and to share in this wisdom in all the simple, ordinary, and miraculous ways. And so it is. Shall we stand and sing?
Aloha, everyone. Mahalo.